Hi everybody, old guy here, and this is another Russo, and it has his signature written all over it. You know, an upper middle class, successful, university related sad sack suffering an existential crisis. In this case, Jack Griffin is the sad sack, a somewhat successful screenwriter who is now a university professor because of his wife's desire that he leave screenwriting for teaching, which he does, to Connecticut, which takes his wife, Joy, away from the beloved family in California. So you already see what's coming. Resentment of wife causing him to lose a lifestyle career that he loved, and wife's resentment over losing access to her big-hearted and big-mouthed family. Be careful what you wish for. A lot of the book deals with Jack's parental relationships, which is, at best, troubled. Both his mother and father are university professors and serial philanderers, with the father getting most of the blame and condemnation, although he seems more sinned against than sinner. That's because his wife is a harpy, dismissive and sneering at everyone who holds less than a doctorate, and all at the same time does not work for one of 3 or 4 highly regarded universities, which neither she nor her husband does work for them. They have their doctorates, but they don't work for these universities, nor have they ever. Both from upstate New York, their college careers were never sufficient to land them an Ivy League position. The two of them teaching in the mid-effin' West, to quote the parents whenever referring to their current Indiana location. The title of the book comes from the family's annual month-long vacation on Cape Cod. 1 month of bliss for the parents, followed by 11 months of hell back in the mid-effin' West. Every time they cross whatever bridge takes them to whatever Cape Cod lodging they can afford this year, which is dependent on end-of-semester finances, Dad changes the lyrics of That Old Black Magic to That Old Cape Magic. Once within the Cape's borders, his parents collect all of the real estate brochures they can find and go through the listings, categorizing everything as either too much money or wouldn't have it as a gift. So they never buy a summer place, nor a future retirement home on their beloved Cape. Now, as you'd expect, Jack develops his own fondness for the Cape, especially during one summer when his parents, forced by finances to take a cabin in a lower middle-class vacation spot, he finds probably the best friend of his life who has a welcoming and open-hearted family and who he never sees again. See, Mom and Dad don't like this family, the bourgeois Brownings, and refuse to reserve the cabin for next year because the Brownings are going to be in the same area. Mom and Dad don't like the bourgeois Joy, Jack's wife, either, because she never did any graduate work. Mom and Dad don't like anybody. Mom's retirement speech from the Indiana College summarized the place as a second-rate institution with second-rate students and colleagues. I'll bet they were glad for her to go. The book centers on 2 events held on Cape Cod. The marriage of Jack and Joy's daughter, Laura's best friend, Kelsey, and a year later, Laura's marriage to someone she met at Kelsey's wedding. In the first one, Jack is carrying around his father's ashes with the intent to find some place on the Cape to spread them, which he never does. By the time of the second wedding, he is carrying around 2 sets of ashes with his mother's recent passing and still has no idea where to dump them. Has to be on opposite sides of the island in accordance with his mom's last wishes. Think it's possible that Jack has mommy and daddy issues. So what ensues is the middle-age collapse that often happens to children and with troubled childhoods, although Jack has no idea what a truly troubled childhood is like. But sympathy is extended because it wasn't a rose garden, and it comes to a head during Laura's wedding, which Jack and Joy come to in separate cars, which tells you a lot. The rehearsal dinner and wedding reverts to downright slapstick in places, with things like an invalid in his wheelchair dropped inside a hedge. A lot of the slapstick feels very forced, as if Russo is trying to have a laugh, not quite pulling it off. My favorite character is Tommy, Jack's screenwriting partner, who is a full-blown alcoholic and a man who suffers no illusions and who should be Jack's bête noire, but he's just too much fun. This is Russo's 7th novel, and it really feels like a writing exercise, like he was flexing a bit before tearing into Everybody's Fool, which is a much better read. Russo was born in upstate New York and went to college in Arizona and ended up teaching in Illinois, which seems to inform the events of this book. But it's without the heft you usually expect from him. Old guy here. See you later.